Hello, everyone. My name is Yesenia, or Yessie for short, and I am an engagement strategist here at Omaha Public Power District. Thank you so much for joining this webinar hosted by OPPD to educate you on some exciting things coming your way, like smart meters, our new and improved outage map, and a new portal called MyOPPD. Just a heads up, this webinar will be recorded, but don't let that stop you. Feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A feature, and I will read them out during the presentation. Finally, please make sure to take the survey that is going out to you all through the email that you used to register for the webinar. We'd love your feedback to ensure we answered all of your questions and to make sure we improve future learning events. With that, I'd like to introduce our presenter, Aaron Smith. He is our Director of Distributed Device Strategy. Take it away, Aaron.
All right, thanks, Jesse. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar this afternoon. We'll start off with a safety briefing as we always do at OPPD. Safety is number one and top of mind for us here. I know we're all virtual for this event, but certainly as you're at home or in your office or wherever you may be listening to this event, please be aware of your surroundings. If you're feeling ill, please let someone know. Always know where your exits are or any hazards around you. Knowing where fire extinguishers are, and if you don't have a fire extinguisher at your home, as an example, this is a good reminder to go get one. That's always a great thing to have around the house. You never know when you might need that. Identify help. Also, big for us here at OPPD is psychological safety. So for this meeting, we want you to feel free to ask any questions you may have, any tough questions. We want to get those answers for you and respect all different perspectives, and keep that in mind as we go forward with this. So without further ado, we'll get into the main material. So I'll talk a little bit about AMI. So what is AMI? So AMI stands for Advanced Metering Infrastructure. And AMI it's much more than just new meters or new smart meters. There's a lot of other communication equipment and technology and software and things behind the scenes to make everything work, to enable two-way communication between OPPD and our customers. And so what's involved in this effort? So it's going to involve upgrading our current existing meters, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get into the presentation. We'll be upgrading those to the new AMI 2.0 advanced smart meters, as well as installing all the supporting systems. We have a big program where we've been rolling out lots of new systems here at OPPD, and including a new field area network that we'll also talk about as we go. We've had some partners in this project. Landis and Gear is our meter vendor. We'll talk a little bit more about them. Border States is our distributing partner for the meters. And we've also had some consulting help, as well as Allegiant, who will be our meter installation partner for our residential installs. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go further. So now I'll talk a little bit about why AMI. So one of the biggest reasons is our current AMR meters, or automated meter reading system. It's a drive-by AMR system. We have specialized vehicles that drive by each meter and collect reads as it goes through the various neighborhoods of Omaha and our surrounding 13 counties that we serve, and collect the meter reads. That system was put in coming up on 20 years ago. So those meters and that system is really reaching kind of the end of its useful life. And so we're in need of replacing that equipment. And so this is an opportunity for us to uh, install kind of the latest equipment in terms of the AMI, the advanced smart meters. And so it's important to note that most of the country, most of the United States is already on AMI and smart meters, about 75%. So we're going to be joining most of our utility peers in that mix. We are going to be able to actually kind of leapfrog them based on our timing of the technology has advanced over the past few decades. And so we're kind of jumping into what's called kind of AMI 2.0. So we'll have a little bit of a advanced technology, but the AMI itself is very proven, and we're jumping on with many of our utility peers across the country. So as you'll see, this is a look at our timeline, and this is just kind of a preview. The big takeaway here, because we'll come back to this at the end, this may not mean a whole lot to you yet, but the big takeaway here is this is a big multi-year effort. We're beginning our meter deployments with our soft launch here coming up October 1st, and we're projected to conclude the deployment of meters across our approximately 420,000 customers at the end of 2028. So it's a big multi-year effort to replace all those meters. And again, along with this meter replacement project and upgrade to AMI, we're also rolling out a lot of other beneficial technology that we'll talk about here, including new outage map, a new My OPPD customer portal along the way, and then kind of some behind the scenes technology in terms of a new outage management system for how OPPD can better manage and respond to outages and different weather events when they come into our service territory. So we'll come back to this timeline, but the big takeaway is this is a big multi-year effort that we're getting started with the deployment phase of this year. So a little bit about the meters themselves. For the meters to work, it also requires the field area network, or kind of more commonly known as the FAN here at OPPD for short. This involves collector devices, or kind of gateway devices, and some additional routers. So if you think about kind of, it's different technology, but like within your home Wi-Fi, you may have kind of a Wi-Fi extender that enhances the signal. That's kind of like the routers do that, and then get the signal back to the gateway. From the gateway, we backhaul the information either through OPPD owned fiber at our substations, or through a cellular signal back to OPPD. It's a within the metro area, the meters operate on a mesh network, which provides a lot of resiliency. The signals are able, if it needs to jump from meter to a router to a gateway, or kind of directly. But that way, if we lose a piece of the network equipment, the signal can automatically reroute itself. It's kind of a self-healing network system, so that if any one piece or any portion of the network goes down, it's still able to operate and work really well. So we've installed this field area network for our pilot soft launch areas, and we'll be installing the full field area network next year in 2026. So this is really key to making it work in our metropolitan areas. In our rural areas, we're using a little bit of a different technology. For those areas, the meters themselves have cellular built in, because in some of our rural areas, especially as you get kind of down towards the Kansas border, we might only have one customer every few miles, and so being able to kind of build that mesh up is really kind of impossible when you have that wide density of customers. And so we're using a direct cellular solution in those areas that will bring the signal back directly over a cellular carrier for those areas. So if we think about kind of the evolution of electric meters, so kind of pre our current generation, you think of kind of the old analog meters, or kind of the spinning meters. You might think of, bring to mind like different cartoons or things where someone uses a lot of energy and you see that thing spinning a lot. That was kind of the old generation. We used to go kind of yard to yard, and people would, literally write down the reads on a piece of paper and take those back to the office, and we'd collect all those by hand and create bills by hand, for years and years and years for, probably the first 50 years of OPPD. That's kind of how it worked. Um, then, about 20 years ago, we went to the AMR meters, the automated meter reading, where um, the meters, measure the electricity usage. And when someone drives by, the signal is sent to the vehicle. It grabs that read, collects it electronically. We're then able to put that in our billing system and do the bills. And that's how you get your bills today. Kind of, you'll be able to see, like, here's what I used last month and here's my bill based on that with our current meters. The new meters, with our communication network that we built, that I talked about, the field area network, we'll be able to read those meters throughout the day. So we'll be able to get information back on regular intervals throughout the day. And the really advantage there is, one, we don't have to drive by to collect reads anymore, but two, we'll automatically know if someone's out of power. That's a big benefit. A lot of folks maybe already think that OPPD knows that. Unfortunately, we do not, and we do rely on customers to call in to let us know that they're experiencing an outage. But future state with these new meters, what happens is when they lose power, they keep enough little power. There's not batteries in there, but there's a little capacitor in there that keeps enough of a charge to kind of send a signal a few times that says, hey, I'm out, hey, I'm out. Kind of in the electric industry, this is called like the last gasp of the meter. It sends that a couple times, and then the meter loses power completely and is basically dead. But that allows us to then know right away when customers are out, exactly where they're out, and then we can more quickly be able to route our line crews and troubleshooters to those locations to make repairs and assess the outage that's going on. What it also allows us to do is be able to provide a lot more detailed look at usage. These new meters, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but it can show usage on a 15-minute basis throughout the day. It doesn't report back every 15 minutes. It'll actually only report back to OPPD every 4 hours or so, but it collects that data and provides that snapshot, reports it back, and then you'll be able to view that in our new My OPPD, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But again, allows us to have a lot more information about what's going on the electric system. It collects the usage, but also we're able to measure voltage, make sure we're supplying good voltage to customers, and understand that everything looks good on the service, and be able to detect any kind of interruption if we happen to have that. If there's a tree branch slapping the line, we'll be able to kind of detect those type of things with these new meters, and they can report back to us. So lots of new capabilities there, as opposed to these current generation of meters that we've had. So how will the data be used? Again, it's about that precise and accurate billing, as it's always been. It's measuring the energy consumption at the home or business or residence. And it's really only related to energy consumption. So just to kind of dispel any myths, it's not collecting any personal or sensitive information. It's not looking at your internet usage. It's not looking at what you watch on Netflix, et cetera, et cetera. If you have your recommendations on Netflix, that'd be great. I'm always looking for something to watch, but that's not the intent of these. It's, again, only measuring electrical quantities, the voltage, the current, what's going into your home, and we're measuring that and then billing you based on your usage, as we have for the entire history of OPPD. So that's what the meters are used for, and only what they're used for, and only what they're capable of is measuring electrical quantities. We do provide options, though, for our customers. These meters do have a lot of advantages and provide a lot of great new capabilities, but we want to provide our customers with choice. And so if some customers do wish to opt out, we do have that choice for them. There is a standard kind of rate that's part of our rate manual for this. There is a monthly charge associated with opting out. because we do have to send someone to the field to go manually collect the read um, to do that. So there is a monthly charge for that. There's also a one-time charge because we'll have to order a kind of a special meter that does not have any communication system in it. It just will be recording at the house, collecting the data. Someone will walk up to it, collect the reads manually, and then we'll be billed in that process. So there is a one-time fee up front because we have to order that special meter that does not have any communication capability built into it. And then there is that monthly charge to cover the costs of reading that meter each month to do that. So that's kind of the overview of what the opt-out program looks like should a customer choose to opt out. Again, we want to provide choice. We think there's a lot of great advantages, but should someone want to opt out, we do want to provide that option for them. So we'll talk about all the benefits with this. So really, again, I've started to kind of touch on this, but really on the daily insights of energy use. So every 24 hours, that data can be downloaded into our customer platform, and you can go back and look at the 15-minute intervals of data. I actually have one of these new meters on my house as part of a test we did this summer, kind of a friends and family piece of testing on some OPPD employees and some of our OPPD facilities. And it's really cool to see some of the insights. So my oldest daughter is in college down at University of Nebraska in Lincoln. She came home to do her laundry one weekend, and I looked at the usage that day she was doing laundry, and it showed a big spike when she started doing laundry, and she did 6 loads of laundry, and you could actually see the 6 little spikes on there. So I could totally tell exactly what we were using in our house for energy and why and what happened. So it's really cool stuff and insights on how you're using things that really only you know when you kind of look at the data. That really can allow you to understand what you're doing, how you're using energy, and if you want to make modifications to that, and you're able to do that and kind of choose how you're using and what you're doing. Um, there'll be ability kind of for proactive communications. You can sign up within the MyOPPD, and we'll talk about more about that for outage alerts, or be alerted if your usage looks high one day. You can have that alert you, or give you billing updates about when let me know, hey, a few days before my bills due, give me a reminder. All kinds of cool stuff built in there. And again, the remote meter readings can reduce the billing discrepancy, or improve response times as well, um, as things may pop up. Again, I've talked about the faster outage detection and restoration. The quicker we know someone's out, the quicker we can roll a truck there to get the problem identified and fixed. It also provides a lot of insight on our grid and data. Today, past our substations, we don't have a lot of visibility into our system. Now we'll have visibility, all the way down kind of to the edge of our grid, to our customers' homes and businesses, which will be great information for our grid operators to have and see those voltage values, see the loads on our system all the way down to the very edge. Also be able, like, as I mentioned, to detect maybe some little anomalies that we're seeing on the system, little blips that we may not otherwise be able to detect. These meters can pick up on those, and we can see if we may need to go out and do some tree trimming or other maintenance or things like that on the system. So really good functionality there. And then again, that greater controller choice, that usage transparency, being able to see what you're using instead of kind of getting that bill at the end of the month. Hey, here's all what you used last month. It breaks it down by day, by hour, and even by 15-minute level to really understand, hey, if I really used a lot last month, what did I do? It gives you an opportunity to break it down and say, oh, okay, this is what I did. It was on these days. Here's what I did, and really understand that, as opposed to, oh, I used more or less than what I did last year, which is really kind of hard to make any kind of decisions off of, or choices. But with the new information, that's going to be a lot easier. And then again, another cool piece is kind of that remote service activation. So if you move in or out of a house or an apartment, Today, we have to kind of roll someone to grab that meter read. Even with the AMR, we have to at least roll the truck by to grab a read. Future state will just be able to kind of ping the meter, grab the last read, turn it off. We can then turn it on when a new person moves in, activate service, and do all that stuff remotely without having to roll trucks or send anyone to the field to do that. So should make a much smoother transition process when we have move in or move outs or turn on, turn off situations for our customers. So a little bit about my OPPD. We just launched this a couple of weeks ago. So this is live. So whether you have a new meter yet, or you'll be getting one soon, or whether you will be getting one in a couple years, you can access this now. It is live. It's both in English and also available in Spanish. You're able to go in and customize what type of notifications you'd like to get. Like if you would like to, if you have an outage, if you'd like to be able to receive text message updates about that, you can click on that preference. If you'd rather have emails, if you'd rather get kind of an automated phone call, you can do that. You can get alerts regarding your bill or when your bill is due. You can view your bill, pay your bill. You can also access that billing history, that usage history I was talking about, where I was able to see my daughter doing laundry. And you can kind of, link an account for doing payments, et cetera, and kind of other self-service start, stop, or moving services. If you happen to be moving or selling or buying a house, you're able to do all that stuff within this new My OPPD, which is really, really cool. You're able to, like I say, do a lot of things online that maybe in the past would have required a phone call into our call center. And certainly our call center is still there and always available for you. But if you're able to do self-service and want to choose to do that, this new platform is out there for you to use. Another exciting piece that we have is we've launched a brand new outage map on OPPD.com. So it's really a new modern look and feel outage map, kind of compared to our prior generation that we had. You're able to look and kind of see on the left-hand side kind of a summary of what the total outages are at any given point, the number of kind of outage incidents, as well as the number of customers affected. And then you can zoom in and drill down and look at outages in your area or in a given area. And then kind of on the right-hand side is kind of, as you drill down, you're able to see kind of the 5 most relevant points of information related to an outage, kind of when did it start, how many customers are impacted, the cause of the outage, if it's known at that point, when you can expect the power to be restored, and then also kind of what's the status? Has it been reported? Do we have a crew working in the area? Has power been restored, et cetera, kind of a status of where it's at. We also have a button on the right-hand side where you can subscribe to an outage, where this is particularly handy. One use case for this would be if you have, say, like an elderly parent or relative that you may worry about that has a power outage. You could subscribe to an outage and get alerts so that you can know when their power is restored, to know when hey, they're back on, they're good to go, everything's back to normal. So really cool feature there. And then also for safety purposes, when you zoom in, we do not show an outage at any particular house. It doesn't zoom to that level. It zooms down enough to know, like, hey, it's in this particular neighborhood, but it's not enough to show, it's like any particular house, for security reasons of that level. But you're able to kind of drill down to know, like, yep, that's the outage that would impact my area, but it's not to the level of my house, just for security purposes. And then the next piece that we'll have, and this will launch in November. So until then, to report a streetlight outage, you would need to call into our call center to report that. But we'll have a new streetlight reporting module within our new MyOPPD and outage map that pulls up a map, and you can have it linked to kind of where you're at. So if you're standing near a streetlight that's out, it will kind of automatically locate you there, and you can click on the map and say, yep, this is the street light that's out. and report it that way. You can also tell in there if someone else has already reported it and kind of see a status like, yep, it's already a known issue, it's been reported, and kind of understand what the status is. And this is super helpful. Speaking frankly for OPPD, because sometimes when we get a report of a street light out, it's like, hey, it's the fifth light on the left side of the road from this corner, and it can get kind of confusing exactly what light someone's talking about. But with this, you're able to click on the one you're standing by or the one you see. It's very accurate, and we're able to get a great report on this is the one that's out, and this is where we need to go and check it out and make the repair. So really cool feature, and that will launch in November and be available. Um, then coming early next year, this My OPPD portal will be available as a mobile app in and of itself. So it will, what we have now is kind of a mobile optimized web version. So it's meant to be able to use on a mobile phone or like a desktop, laptop, PC. But in January, we'll actually have a dedicated mobile app that you can download from like your app store, from like a Google or an Apple type app store, if you prefer to have it accessed that way. Same type of functionality to go in, manage your account, sign up for alerts, look at the outage map. It's all there, kind of in one click of a button with an app. So we're also very, very excited about that functionality as well. So the smart meter soft launch. So what we're planning to do in the early stages is about 10,000 or so meters. We're upwards of that. But we chose some areas kind of across our service territory to really help us get a good test of this technology as we're rolling out these early areas to make sure that everything's going to work really well. Give a good test of the communication network, give a good test from all different types of customer profiles that we have across our system. And so that's the intent of kind of doing this what we're calling a soft launch, or this first 10,000. For those of you that are in these areas, you should have already probably received a communication letting you know that this is coming. We're doing kind of a 90, 60, 30 day email communication, as well as our outlets newsletter that's a bill insert, as well as using some next door social media um, communications as well. Um, we have our meter vendor, as I mentioned, is Landis and Gear, and our installation vendor will be Allegiant, and they'll have an OPPD contractor badge, and their vehicles will also have an emblem that says OPPD contractor along with their Allegiant, so you'll be able to recognize them. Um, After the install, they will hang a door hanger to let you know that the meter exchange was successful. And then following the installation, you'll receive a survey, so you can tell us about that experience. And I can tell you when they did mine, it's very quick. Assuming there's really no issues, it's really about a 5-second power outage. It could take up to 10 or 15 minutes, kind of depending on what they find when they're out there. But typically, if there's no issues, it's going to be boom, boom, very quick exchange, and your power will be back on just like a really quick blip. Um, so some of the soft launch criteria, and I'll show you some maps here in just a minute, but we wanted to have some urban, suburban, rural areas. Um, we wanted to have some different, specific potentially areas where we've seen maybe some reliability challenges, so we can get some additional data on the system, areas with high move in and move outs, areas with overhead power lines, underground mature trees, areas with some solar, electric vehicles, areas with some historical communication network challenges, so we can really get a big test. And we've also are using some downtown, a couple of apartment towers where those meters sit kind of underground in a basement to make sure we have communication that can reach all the way down there. So we're kind of trying some of our hardest spots first as part of this to make sure that everything is going to work really, really well. So in the Omaha metro area, um, we're going to start up an area kind of by Epley Airfield and Carter Lake first. We have an area in North Omaha, Then we'll go down near downtown. We have a couple apartment complexes. We have an area South Omaha as well as down in Bellevue, kind of Old Town Bellevue and near Offutt Air Force Base. Then we go out to the Westgate area, kind of 84th and I-80, and then out west, kind of Millard and towards Elkhorn area as well. We have an area out there where we have some kind of higher rooftop solar as well as some electric vehicle penetration that we want to kind of get some data on. So we kind of have a good variety across the Omaha metro area of different terrain, different neighborhood types, like I say, apartment towers, single family residential homes, some commercial areas, near the airport, et cetera. So a good test of lots of different customer types and different terrains. And then we also have in our rural areas kind of the same thing, kind of an area south of Fremont we're testing, area kind of south of Wahoo, an area kind of south of Ashland, and then down kind of an area a little bit north of Tecumseh, and then an area near Peru, Nebraska as well. So kind of spreading out across our 13 county territory to get a really good test. And again, the majority of these will be our cellular meters that have that direct communication. So we'll get some good experience with those as well as part of this soft launch. And again, these deployments will run from October, starting here in a couple weeks through early next year in January. So that's kind of coming back to our timeline. This will make maybe a little bit more sense now. We've got in September, we launched that My OPPD portal as well as the outage map. October 1st, we'll begin this soft launch deployment of meters. We're having our public open houses now, which this is a part of. This is a virtual event. You're also welcome, more than welcome to attend one of our in-person events as well. We intend to have the meter deployments for this soft launch, this first 10,000 or so, completed by January. Also in January, our new mobile app that's available on the Apple Store and Google Store will be available. And then as we get into 2026, we take a little bit of a pause and let the AMI network, this first 10,000, make sure everything's operating really, really well. And we're confident it will be. Then we'll start our full network deployment of that field area network. And then in the fall, begin our full deployment of the rest of our about 400,000 meters, which will take a couple of years and then wrap up. Our target is the end of 2028 to have all of our about 420,000 or so meters replaced at that point. So if you would like to have some more information, we do have a dedicated place on our website, oppd.com/smartmeters. There's lots of information on there as well. And again, we're having some more of these open houses, both virtually and in public. You're welcome to join those. And with that kind of wraps the presentation part of this, but would be happy to take any questions that you may have. And I don't know if we may have gotten some in on the chat. I'm not able to see them on my presenter mode here, but Yessie and team, if we have some, would love to try to address those.
Thank you so much, Aaron. You did an amazing job, probably so good that nobody has any questions. You answered everybody's questions. But I do want to encourage everybody again to go to oppd.com/smartmeters if you want to check out any other dates, check out our frequently asked questions page. We also have a page on what to expect when it's your turn to get your meter and what you can do to prepare to make sure it's a smooth install. I still don't see any questions, so that wraps it up for us. We will make sure to send out that survey. It'll go out to your email that you use to register for this event. Please give us feedback. Feel free to submit any questions that you have in there as well. And with that, everybody have a great night. Thank you so much for jumping on, and we'll see you at the next one.